Hello and welcome to the August edition of What's Up Stratford. Joining me is Marshall Morden, lead pastor at Memorial Baptist Church. Marshall, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Peter. Appreciate it.
I just wanted to say that you have a refreshing face, shall we say, to a pastor. Most people would look at you and say, how is he a senior pastor? He looks relatively young. He's got a whole bunch of books behind him, and he has a master's degree. So fill us in on all of that.
Yeah. So my journey into ministry full time was a bit of a long one. I didn't kind of jump into this right out of high school. I actually was working in the finance and insurance world for a number of years and started feeling led to something else, was participating in the church in different ways. So started doing courses, a few courses turned into a bachelor's degree, turned into a master's degree, and been working at the church full time now for over 5 years, but just stepped into the lead role in April, actually. So it's all
Right,
very
awesome.
good.
Well, Marshall, most people might not know this about you. You're also a pastor, but you have a different side of you when you step into a Muay Thai ring. So tell us how Muay Thai fighting makes you a good pastor.
That's a great question, and it's the kind of thing that some people are a little shocked by. Both people in the church when they find out that I like to kickbox, and my fellow kickboxers when they find out what I do for work. Yeah, so it's been. I mean, right now I'm not actively competing between work and family. A lot of my time's taken up, but for a number of years that was a huge part of my life. And as strange as it might sound, I think there is some crossover. I mean, even in the Bible, there's all these like sport analogies that they use for the Christian life, right? And making references to the significance of, training yourself and self-discipline and putting in effort. But, in my time competing and coaching and kickboxing, some of the things that I kind of learned as I was going through the ropes was just kind of a better understanding of myself, right? Understanding my own abilities, my own skill set, my own limitations, and being very aware of what those were. And that's I find really helpful when you're in a position where you're leading people and you're working with people, a large group of people. And there's definitely, I would say, higher stakes in what I'm doing now. Some people might think that's strange. Getting knocked out isn't that big of a deal. But when you're handling, people's emotional, spiritual, mental well-being, that's really important stuff. So it's also understanding, their situations and their skills and their gifts and their limitations, and kind of encouraging them in their lives with that kind of understanding of their own context in mind, right? And I guess the big difference, though, is that the opponent, for lack of a better term, isn't like someone else. It's really ultimately, more often than not, ourselves. It's those kind of selfish tendencies and that brokenness within us that we're having to kind of step in the ring against. So I suppose on that level, there is some crossover between the two.
Sounds like there's a lot. Okay, I know it's crazy to think of it. It's August now, which means
Yeah.
fall is coming. Kids are
Yes.
going back to school. So what do you have for fall programming?
Yeah, so we're actually really excited. So this fall, we are launching a program. I want to call it a new program. It's like a new program, but an old program known as Awana. So it's something that was in Stratford that our church ran very successfully for a number of years. And we're bringing it back this fall. And so what Awana Awana is a weekly program. It's going to be running Wednesday nights starting September 18th, I believe, is our kickoff day. And registration should be open for that already. And it's for kids ages 2 to grade 2. There's actually an opportunity to expand that to older kids as well. And we're going to look into that in upcoming years. But that's what we're starting with. So it's going to be this weekly event hosted here at the church with the kids broken up into their own age groups and with their own dedicated leaders who are, of course, all trained and vetted and committed to making the kids feel safe and welcome. And, there's everything from lessons and games and crafts and, big activities a few times a year that kind of just get them to feel a sense of community with one another, to understand their own inherent value in the eyes of God and amongst the community that's caring for them, and to learn and grow. And so we're really, really excited to be relaunching that. I mean, beyond that, we've got all sorts of other programs going on throughout the week. Obviously, Sunday mornings, we have our kids program. We've got a youth group. We've got a young adults group. We got stuff for adults too, of course, right? We just put some pickleball courts actually in the gym. And so there's a group of what we'll call golden years folks that are playing pickleball on Thursday. So we try to keep this building full and active and something going on almost every day. So
Marshall, thank you very much for coming on the show and talking about church and community and how you're making a difference. Really appreciate it.
thanks for having me, Peter. Appreciate it, man.
Coming up next is Anita Gaffney from the Stratford Festival.